Welcome to Curious Kids Every Day. I'm Josh. How are you doing today? It's so good to hear from you. Hey, I have a question for you. Do you like pizza? If you do, what are your favorite pizza toppings? Or do you just like cheesy pizza? I love pizza. My whole family loves pizza. My favorite place to take my family to eat is this little pizza shop by our house. We have such fun memories together, sitting there all around the little table and sharing a pizza together. All 5 of us can share a medium-sized pizza. Sometimes I think we could maybe get away with getting the small pizza, but I'd rather have a little extra than not enough. That got us thinking one day, what would happen if everyone on Earth shared one big pizza? How big would that pizza have to be? I thought it would be so fun to figure that out on the show today. Will you help me? Okay, so right now, there are over, and I cannot believe this number, 8 billion people living on Earth. That's a lot of people to feed. So if we were going to have one giant pizza party and give every person one regular-sized slice, that pizza would need to be absolutely gigantic. A typical large pizza is cut into 8 slices and has a diameter of about 14 inches. Can you say diameter? The diameter of a circle is just the length from one side of the circle to the other, passing through the center of the circle. So that just means the pizza is 14 inches long. Okay, 14-inch long pizza feeds 8 people. Got it. But we have to feed 8 billion people. So it would take 1 billion large pizzas to feed everyone. But we don't want multiple pizzas. We want one giant pizza with 8 billion slices. How big would that have to be? Well, if we made the pizza slices the same size as normal slices, and we made 8 billion of those slices, the pizza would need to be more than 14 miles wide. That's wider than a whole city. It would cover over 150 square miles. Just imagine a pizza that big. If you walked at 3 miles per hour, it would take you a little more than 4.5 hours to walk across from one side to the other. It's like walking a half marathon right across a giant pizza. And what if you wanted to walk all the way around the crust? Well, that's something we could figure out using something called pi, which is spelled P-I, but it's pronounced pi. Pi is about 3.14. That's the number that pi represents. Can you say 3.14? Pi helps us measure round things. When you know the diameter, which is how wide the pizza is across, you can multiply it by pi to find out how far it is around the whole edge. And that edge is called the circumference. Can you say circumference? So the diameter is when you go in a straight line through the middle of the pizza, side to side, and the circumference is when you walk all the way around the crust. Since this pizza has a diameter of 14 miles, and 14 times 3.14, which is pi, is about 44 miles, that means that it would take almost 15 hours to walk all the way around the edge. That's a lot of walking. And what about waiting in line to get your slice? Let's say it takes everybody about 10 seconds to get their pizza. All right, so you stand in line, put out your hand, they hand you a pizza, you take a bite, you walk away. 10 seconds for one person. Then you go to the next person. So how long would it take everybody to get their slice if each person took 10 seconds to get their slice? Well, if everyone stood in one long line, you'd be waiting over 25 years at the end of the line. So unless you got lucky and were one of the first ones served, you'd probably be waiting decades for your pizza. And think about the ingredients too. You'd need about 800 million pounds of cheese and 2 billion pounds of dough. So while a one-planet pizza party sounds delicious, it might be a tad tricky to pull off. Before we play our games today, let's talk about the 3 important words we learned. Can you remember what those words were? Diameter, circumference, and pi. The diameter is the distance across a circle, going straight through the middle. So if you walk in a straight line from one side of the giant pizza to the other, right through the gooey cheese center, that's the diameter. The circumference is the distance all the way around the edge of the circle. So if you walked around the outside crust of the pizza without taking a bite, that would be the circumference. And then pi, do you remember what number pi represents? 3.14. We use pi to figure out the circumference of a circle. If you know the diameter, you just multiply the diameter by pi, and that tells you how far it is around the circle. So, diameter equals across the middle, circumference equals around the outside, and pi equals the magic number, 3.14, that helps us measure circles. If you can remember all that, you are a circle expert. Okay, let's play some games. Let's have a quick quiz. How many people live on Earth today? Over 8 billion. What is the distance around a circle called? If you walked around the entire crust of our pizza, what is that distance around called? That's the circumference. About how big would the pizza need to be to feed everybody if we were going to feed everybody in the whole world? Would it need to be the size of a car, the size of a football field, or the size of a city? It would probably actually be a little bigger than the size of a city. True or false? A giant pizza for everybody would be about 5 miles wide. That's false. It would be around 14 miles wide. True or false? The diameter of a circle is when you go in a straight line through the middle of the circle, side to side. That is true. True or false? Pi is the magic number, 3.14, that helps us measure circles. That is true. Would you rather share a pizza with 100 of your friends or have a whole pizza all to yourself every day for a year? Now, let me ask you a question. Do you have 100 friends? I guess if I looked through my phone, I probably know over 100 people, but it's pretty wild to think about having 100 friends. If I did have 100 friends, I would definitely share a pizza with them. What am I? I'm stretchy and gooey. I melt when I'm hot. I'm found on your pizza on top of the lot. What am I? That is the delicious, delicious cheese. Okay, so we know there are about 8 billion humans on Earth. So our game today is called, Are There More Humans? I'm going to name something. You tell me, are there more or fewer humans than that thing? Are there more ants on Earth than humans? There are more ants. There are trillions of ants. What about chickens? Do you think there are more chickens than there are humans? Absolutely. There are over 33 billion chickens on Earth. Now, when I go out onto the roads, I see a lot of cars. Do you think that there are more or fewer cars than there are people on Earth? There are fewer cars. There are around 1.5 billion cars on Earth. What about trees? More or fewer trees? There are way more trees. There's about 3 trillion trees on Earth. Okay, one more. What about dogs? Are there more or fewer dogs on Earth? There are fewer dogs. There's about 900 million. Today we learned that even though a world-sized pizza sounds tasty, it would take years to serve, use wild amounts of ingredients, and it would also be bigger than a whole city. But thanks to the diameter, circumference, and pi that we learned, we can use math to figure it all out. Oh, hey, we should have been calling it pizza pie. What kind of question do you think we'll ask tomorrow on Curious Kids Every Day? I can't wait to find out. So until then, keep asking questions and stay curious, kids. And for all the grown-ups listening, please visit CuriousKidsEveryday.com to get a free printable with activity ideas that don't involve screens. Those are the best kinds of adventures to have. That's CuriousKidsEveryday.com. See you tomorrow.